India over the last decade has quietly scripted one of the greatest success stories of our time, an extraordinary reduction in poverty. This isn't just a shift in numbers, it's a transformation in how we think about governance, policy, and people's lives. At the center of this transformation lies a governance model powered by precision in policy making, technology, and a deep commitment to empowering the most vulnerable citizens. It is a story of dignity, empowerment, and economic justice, and at its core, the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. When the Modi government took office in 2014, India was grappling with entrenched inequalities, inefficient delivery systems, and millions left outside the safety net of the welfare state. The promise was not simply to expand subsidies but to restructure the very way the state connects with the citizen. At the heart of this transformation lies the JAM Trinity: Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, and Mobile. This wasn't just a technical fix, it was a moral and administrative reset. The JAM framework became the backbone of the direct benefit transfer system, where welfare is delivered directly and transparently, eliminating middlemen and leakages that had plagued India's welfare schemes for decades. Over 34 lakh crore rupees has been transferred directly into people's bank accounts since the launch of DBT. From LPG subsidies to pensions, scholarships to rural employment wages, this model ensures every rupee reaches the intended beneficiary, preserving not just public money but public trust. This transformation reflects a deeper philosophy. The idea isn't to distribute dependency but to restore dignity, to empower citizens, especially those at the margins, with choice, access, and control over their lives. Financial inclusion became the entry point to a larger ecosystem of rights, services, and opportunities. Critically, this shift has had a profound gendered impact. Over 55% of Jan Dhan accounts are held by women, creating not just access to funds but agency in households and communities. The Ujjwala Yojana, which has distributed over 9 crore LPG connections, has improved health, saved time, and reduced the drudgery of women who no longer need to collect firewood daily. It's a policy that began with clean fuel but led to cleaner air, safer homes, and stronger voices for rural women. Initiatives like Swachh Bharat Mission has built over 110 million toilets, not only improving sanitation but enhancing safety and dignity, especially for women and girls. These interventions are about infrastructure, yes, but they are also about freedom from old vulnerabilities. Importantly, the Modi government has moved beyond welfare to empowerment. This is visible in schemes like PM Awas Yojana, which has enabled over 4 crore rural families to own dignified housing. Saubhagya, bringing electricity to the remotest homes. Ayushman Bharat, offering health security to over 50 crore citizens, making it the world's largest publicly funded healthcare initiative. And Mudra Yojana, with over 27 crore rupees loans disbursed to micro entrepreneurs, many of them first time women borrowers. Each scheme is a building block, part of a larger architecture to lift people out of multidimensional poverty, measured not just by income but by access to education, health, housing, sanitation, and opportunity. According to Niti Aayog's National Multidimensional Poverty Index, 13.5 crore Indians exited poverty between 2015 and 2021. This isn't just an isolated claim. Global institutions like the World Bank, IMF, and UNDP have echoed this progress, calling India's poverty reduction one of the most significant in recent times, even in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. This shift, as Amartya Sen has long emphasized, is not just about increasing consumption, it's about expanding capabilities. And this is where India's policy design has aligned with developmental thinking. By investing in health, skilling, and entrepreneurship, the state has helped create conditions for people to shape their own futures. Even scholars like Arjun Sen Gupta and Martin Revelion have pointed out the importance of inclusive economic institutions. The Modi government's approach reflects this wisdom, not just reaching the poor but incorporating them into the very engines of economic growth. As India looks ahead to Viksit Bharat 2047, The focus is shifting towards wealth creation, formalization of the economy, and human capital development. But the foundation remains clear: inclusive governance that ensures every citizen counts. Inclusivity is not a slogan here, it's a design principle. Whether it's ensuring tribal communities receive land titles under the Forest Rights Act or extending digital health IDs to rural populations, the Modi government's model is about bringing the last person to the front of the line. In many ways, what began as a war on poverty is now evolving into a mission for shared prosperity. The journey from Garibi Hatao to Garibi Mitao is not merely political rhetoric, it is becoming a lived experience for millions. And perhaps that's the silent revolution no one saw coming. A model of governance where compassion meets efficiency and where technology became a tool of justice. In the coming years, India's aspiration to become a developed nation by 2047, Viksit Bharat, will depend not just on GDP but on how deeply growth is felt in the lives of everyday Indians. If the past decade is any indicator, India is not just fighting poverty, it is building capacity, restoring dignity, and writing a new chapter in inclusive development.